We once was silent, now we wanna talk. We weren't the only ones up and down from the block. While y'all were running, we chose to walk. So welcome to another episode of Artist Block. Trustees, students, politics, it's all happening. My name is Imaad, and this is episode 8 of Artist Block. Allow me to introduce our co-host for today. He's the current student trustee for Peel North, a Harold M. Breathwaite student, and the co-founder of Rise Above Adversity. It's a youth organization. Khushpal Pawar, say hello.
Hey, how are you?
Before we begin, if you want to request a topic or if you want to come up here, be sure to follow us on all our social medias. Artist Block POD on everything is going to be the way to go. Also, you can email us at artistblockpod@gmail.com. Be sure to subscribe to us on Soundcloud, iTunes, and Google Play Music, as well as YouTube, so you can get these episodes as soon as they come out. So, student trustee, 1 year later, I want you, Khush, in one word, describe your experience in being student trustee.
Amazing.
So at what point did you kind of find your interest and passion for leadership and politics and, even like just running for student trustee? Like at what point in your life were you like, that's the kind of thing that I want to do?
I would say grade 8. Grade 8 would be the time.
What was the catalyst?
Well, grade 8 was when I got involved with my school's leadership team. And so I became co-chair of the school in grade 8. And then obviously that's where I kind of got the interest in, I guess, school politics, you would call it. And then coming into grade 9, I wanted to continue it.
What would you say is your most highly regarded achievement or most coveted achievement so far?
I would say within my school, it would be the Performing Arts Committee, which was an arts committee I made with my friend Balpreet in grade 9. So that was something we started up to promote arts within our school.
So what exactly did that committee do?
So we started off with just a Bhangra team, right? It was like 10 members in a Bhangra team, but we've expanded to a lot of different teams. We have now Bhangra, Gidda, production, executive, singers, all of that, even spoken word, hip hop. Already said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we expanded it, and we had 100 members this year. So I'm not really a part of it anymore. Balpreet's leading it now, but it really just contributed to the spirit of the school and the arts in the school.
So for the listeners that don't know, and for myself as well, what exactly do you as a student trustee decide?
Like, what do you mean by that?
So what can I see right now in Peel that was because of these student trustees?
Well, actually, yeah. So it's interesting. So one of the things that student trustees are a part of are the Ontario Student Trustees Association. So I was recently in Ottawa for a conference, and at these conferences we meet with student trustees from across Ontario. So one of the things that student trustees, not just I alone or my co-trustee Carolyn, but student trustees from all of Ontario accomplished was the funding and the focus on financial literacy within our schools. That was a survey that the Ontario Student Trustees Association had put out, and when the results came back, we had really pushed forward at the provincial level.
So in terms of financial literacy, how did you guys kind of implement that into schools?
Well, the implementation is still being focused on, right? Like there's also been a change in the education minister as well. So Mitzi Hunter isn't the education minister anymore, but in terms of funding it more and focusing on it raises the question of what we're doing differently. So curriculum changes is something that's being looked into. But the fact that they were able to announce that they're going to focus on it was the achievement that we felt was great in its own. And now moving forward, we're going to continue elaborating on the curriculum changes.
Yeah. So we talked about it in pre-production on how you're exactly leading this new financial transparency policy within Peel. So kind of speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm working on in my role this year is to make the extracurricular budget within our schools transparent. That's something that I guess just derives from knowing where your money goes, right? Like we pay a student activity fee at the starting of the year. All students do. And a lot of students have actually reached out to me and expressed their concerns on not knowing where the money's going or not being able to input their voice on that. So we're working on the transparency of it, and we're also actually working on the consistency. So a survey was conducted with all the presidents, all of Peel, so all the school presidents, And Carolyn and I are actually formulating a report that we're presenting to the board on some of the changes we'd like to see in the process of collecting and distribution of those fees.
Yeah, good thing you brought that up because I think that's been a huge, especially in my school. Um, Many of us club executives are kind of wondering why is it that even though it's called a student activity fee, none of us are getting anything out of it, or at least we can't tell if we are. So thanks for that. I hope it works out for everybody. So, do you think the appeal board, because elections are coming up very soon, I believe April 16th or April 19th is the date. So, for those listeners, make sure to vote. Do you think the appeal board does enough for the student trustee elections and the whole position itself?
Well, I would definitely say that they do enough for the election. It's a lot of hard work on their part. In terms of the actual awareness of these student trustees, that's a discussion that we've had prior to the elections that occurred this year. Carolyn and I actually sat down with the individuals that were responsible for the elections this year at the board, and we expressed some of the concerns we had pertaining from last year. So we brought those forward, and those are some changes that we're going to see in this election. But in terms of awareness, that's something that I would say that student trustees have struggled with, not just in Peel, but I would say just all across Ontario, right? And partially it's because some students just aren't interested, right? So one of the initiatives I'm actually doing is I actually started as of this week, I started going on school tours. So I'm touring all 19 of the schools that I represent. That is to connect with students as well as learn about the uniqueness of the schools, but also promote some of the work I'm doing this year and raise awareness about the position so that the incoming trustees, the trustees after those trustees, would have more awareness to their position.
So speaking about these current trustees that are candidates for the upcoming election, how important do you think is the video? That election video that they make.
Well, so our elections are different from like municipal or provincial or federal.
Yeah.
Like these are student trustee elections. They happen within schools, right? I would say the video is very important. It's like even in the guidelines, it's recommended that it's a good quality video, right? Even this year, something that they added in that I don't think it was there last year, but they said that make sure that the audio is clear, right? Because your video is basically you promoting your ideas, you promoting your beliefs and your platform. And if you don't have an interesting video or a video that grasps the attention of students, you're just kind of lacking there, right?
Yeah. For your video, so far that might be one of the greatest videos of anything that I've ever seen.
Thank you. Okay.
Because I mean, it truly captivated me because it was so different, and then it just got me thinking. Because as a creator myself, I was like, who did this? How much money was put into this? Things like that. So, what exactly did you do in the terms of the making of that video?
So, we started in December. I basically got together friends that I thought would be able to help. And we created a campaign team essentially. Mm-hmm. So there were videographers. So the main video guy, the individual who was behind that video and the whole concept was Ethan Cabral from North Park. So he was responsible for the video and then the genius behind the concept. That was all him.
Yeah.
Harji Sandhu from North Park as well. He was responsible for the audio. And it basically I would credit, and even Hamraj, right? Who's actually sitting beside me, Hamraj Rai from Harold Brathwaite, and Amrit Singh from Harold Brathwaite. So all four of these individuals were responsible for the photo and video aspect of my election. And then I had other friends that were like my slogan, my website, and all of that. I had help with all of that because I think it's important to understand that as much as we'd like to believe it, we're not going to be able to do everything on our own. So I credit my entire momentum, my win, and all of my success to the individuals that were in my team. And that's why even on my website, which isn't live anymore, but the website that I had created for the campaign, I had my entire team's pictures and name on my website because it was these individuals supporting me, and it was these individuals that made me to be who I am. So like I thank you for saying that you enjoyed my video, and I've heard that a lot. And the reason I keep it up there is because a lot of people have been inspired from it. And a lot of people have enjoy it, right? The script was something that I had worked on to communicate my beliefs, right? Because we wanted that to be genuine. But I truly, the genius behind the video was something that I couldn't have done alone.
Yeah. So for all those people who did all the videos and like the videography and whatnot, did they all have previous experience in each thing, and so that's why you kind of got them to help you out?
For sure, for sure. So Ethan had a lot of Ethan had done a lot of prior work, and I actually met them through a friend at North Park, Trustee. He's very close, right? So we're headed to his birthday party right after this, but
Nice.
yeah. So Trustee Dollywell from North Park was actually one of my close friends from middle school, and so he connected me to Ethan and Harji. So we kind of got them on board. But in the end, it all kind of just worked out.
Did North Park have their own candidate?
I actually no, I don't think so.
Makes sense because I was wondering, because you said you're a HLM student, and then while you're saying this and you're saying that they go to North Park, so you met them through a mutual friend.
Yeah, yeah. But that's just connecting with students, right? Like even during the campaign period, like there is a misconception about the campaign that students would always support their school's candidate, right? But I mean from my experience, that's not true at all. From my experiences, whoever puts out the most content, whoever reaches out to students the most, like even at my school, like we're not actually disclosed like the election results, so we don't know what school we won or what school we didn't, right? But from the support aspect, like where I got support from, it was just outreach, right? So even if they had their own candidate, if you can reach their hearts and you can connect with them to a common interest level, right? And some of the things that you're talking about are things that they're interested in, things they want to see change, then you have their vote.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the youth organization that you co-founded, Rise Above Adversity. So what exactly is it, and what do you guys do?
So it's a funny story. In the summer, I was actually planning to just make a video about student trustee and my year and what I had planned, right? Just to disclose it and kind of just say, this is what I'm working on. And then somehow that concept went into a youth organization. so I don't.
That's how all the best ideas are made.
Like I was talking to Hamraj about this yesterday, right? How like we're almost reaching a year. So this August it would be a year since we started the youth organization. We have no idea, like we're calling it. We don't know how we got those meetings set up, how we got the grant, how all of that just kind of happened. Like we were just in the moment and it happened. So it came to be through just myself and a bunch of friends that we were like, let's do something for the community. And our focus is on leadership development and helping young leaders within the community have an opportunity to develop and express their passion, and also on getting kids involved from. But we haven't really focused on like elementary yet. We're focused on secondary, but getting the secondary students involved in the community, interested in politics, and being aware of what's happening at City
So kind
Hall.
of give the people who want to do it the ability to do the things
Yeah,
that they
right.
want to do.
Like I've been privileged enough to be able to build connections through my my year as a student trustee. So with whether it be city councilors or MPs or even MPPs, right? Like they're very nice people. And some kids feel intimidated to approach them, but in my experience, every experience I've had with city councilors has been amazing. MPs has been amazing, right? Even MPPs, and I think that I, as someone who has those connections, now wants to help other leaders build those connections, right? Because if someone's interested in federal level, let's get these kids interested early, right? If someone's interested in provincial, let's get these kids interested. Right, like one of the things that a lot of kids talk about are the hospital wait times at Brampton Civic, right? And that was something that was brought up at our first event, the Rise conference, that was in January, where basically students looked at an issue in the community that they were passionate about, and then they created a solution for it. So that's something that we wanted kids to like we wanted to promote critical thinking. Was it's very easy to complain, but it's difficult when you now put yourself in the position of creating a solution for it.
Do you guys do Peel wide, or is it Ontario, or?
Well, that was Peel wide, but our demographic was mainly from Brampton, mainly because we had just started up. So gradually we will continue to build. But I also want to mention that Volunteer NBC is the charity that has sponsored us,
Okay.
and they also have a bunch of stuff that they do with Step Up Youth, and they have a lot of programs that they run as well. But they basically focus on promoting volunteerism. So that's something I just want to add in there, that a lot of the credit to our fast, I guess, build up is credited to Volunteer NBC.
How often do you guys hold meetings?
So we hold meetings every time an event's coming up. So it's not weekly or daily. It's just as many as we need. Like our next event, we're planning a youth town hall with the mayor of Brampton.
Okay.
I'm not going to disclose the date yet, even though I do have it.
Yeah.
That will be something we'll announce eventually. But that's our next event. So now we're going to start meeting up again. But after Rise, we took January off to focus on exams and kind of just,
Yeah, of course.
relax a little bit. February, we were working on logistics. So the exec team had a lot of work to kind of do, but rest of our members were relaxing for that time as well. But now we're getting back to it. And so now we're focused on our next event.
How many people are on your exec team?
Good question. I think we have like, on just our exec team. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant like the entire. Yeah. So our execs are basically just 6. It's basically the founders of it of RAA.
Yeah.
So that's the exec team. So we deal with the logistics of it. But our general membership, I think it's like 20 plus.
It's not bad.
Yeah, because we're not trying to exclude anyone. We're trying to take as many people as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it gets a little hard to handle. But that also has to do with mentorship. Like, there were these, I think it was like 3 or 4 younger kids. Like, we're talking grade 9 and 10. Grade 10. And so we basically had the discussion of like, well, what do we do with these kids, right? And I put them under my team because I wanted to be able to teach them about kind of like leadership. How do you deal with leading an organization or leading a group of people, right? The conflicts that arise. How do you make people feel valued? Right? How do you deal with different opinions? Yeah. So I wanted to mentor them, and so that they can continue to lead it, because I don't want to lead this for years on years. I believe that as leaders, we're developing other leaders to one day pretty much replace us.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the concept that we have with RAA, whereas no one's really the leader of it. No one's really the president of it. I'm not really the head. I just if a name needs to be put down, they put down my name, but I value everybody on that team. And basically to me, everyone's equivalent.
So where do you guys hold meetings themselves? And also, what exactly do you guys like? What is the format of those meetings?
So we usually hold our meetings at Lab B. So Harpreet, who runs Lab B, has been very kind enough to allow us to have, you basically utilize his space. So we usually have our meetings there. In terms of structure, it's mainly just, this is our event. What do we want to do? So we take in all the different opinions, we take in all the different ideas, and then at the end of the meeting, we would just delegate it. And then by next meeting, your work would be done, and then we meet up and we move forward from there.
So what is your next event that you're doing? Sorry.
Yeah, so it's a youth town hall with the mayor.
Okay.
So like one of the things is like from the Rise conference where we looked at issues and then created solutions, like it doesn't just end there, right? Like what does that do? What impact does that make? So now we're taking those issues that we as a youth see in our community and bringing them up with the mayor, right? So that's kind of our next step. Yeah. And so we get the opportunity to learn about our community as well. We get the opportunity to learn about functions of City Hall as well, because I don't think a lot of youth have had that opportunity to just kind of have a one-on-one with our mayor. But I think that's very important to get to know that that like Linda Jeffrey is the head of our city. She's the mayor of our city. What is she about? What does she think about youth voice? What does she think about our involvement in the community, right? So those are questions that we could raise with her. But in my experience, she's been very kind. I mean, she's been kind enough to allow us to run this with her. So, it's just on my part, it's just allowing kids to ask their questions. And it's just about community involvement.
What is the process for someone, like me, who'd just be willing to join?
Join RAA?
Yeah.
Just shoot us an email and we'll figure it out.
Perfect. I'm a fan. So you definitely have at least 1,000 things that you're doing at all times. So one of the things you brought up in pre-production was your Peel Wide, Bhangra, and hip hop thing.
Yep.
So it's a competition?
Yeah.
So who are the judges?
So I can't disclose that right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a work in progress. After I think this podcast would be live before the forms are even sent out. Maybe.
Oh, I'm sure it's gonna be live tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. So after the March break, really, it'll be formally announced. I've been talking about it here and there. I've been promoting it a little bit. But it'll be formally announced, and the forms will go out to all schools. But basically, one of my mandates this year was to promote opportunity in extracurriculars, and this is my way of doing that. But I wouldn't be anywhere near the basically the level of this competition if it wasn't for the students at North Park. So that's where we are going to host it. But it was the students at North Park who were helping with the Bhangra competition, and it's actually students at HB who are helping with the hip hop competition. So if it wasn't for those, and we'll get the chance to meet them at the day of the competition. But if it wasn't for those organizers, the level of this competition would not be where it is.
Yeah. By Bhangra and hip hop, do you mean just their dance aspect of them, or like the songs as well? Like they might be singers, they might be rappers coming on, things like that. Or can you not disclose that information?
Cannot disclose that.
Oh man.
But just, it's like 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Like we're just working on some logistics right now. Because of the March break, a lot of our work has kind of just abruptly stopped.
Yeah.
Because everyone's on break. But we're working on getting those ticket sales live. We're working on getting the forms out to teams that are interested in this event. And in terms of rappers or guest appearances, that's stuff that we'll announce as we go.
So definitely look out for that. Anybody who's listening, things like that. Is there anything else that you wanted to promote? We should talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple. I mean, I already talked about my policy that I'm working on for financial transparency.
Yeah.
I'm also associated with the Peel Film Festival this year.
Oh yeah, definitely shout out to Miss Fernandez at Centennial Secondary School. So the Peel Student Film Festival, for anybody who doesn't know, is by far one of my favorite events that I got to go to last year in grade 9. I was lucky enough to be the MC for it.
Yep.
So how exactly are you involved this year?
So I'm going to be the individual interviewing the nominees and other guests at the festival. And also I'm trying my best to promote it. So one of the initiatives I'm doing this year also is, I think I've already mentioned this. I don't remember, the school tours. I've already spoken about that. Yeah. Okay, sorry about that. But yeah. So when I visit schools, when I talk about some of the stuff that I'm doing this year, I do mention Peel Film Festival, and I try to encourage kids to come out and support it and participate as well. So that's something I'm excited about.
So as the interviewer, is that the person who's like right after kind of the intermission part where you're just getting people to come in and they talk to you?
To be honest, I'm not too sure.
Because I remember last year, because I remember last year I actually had to do an interview with someone, and I didn't exactly know who she was, but it was a fun interview. It was laid back, whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not exactly too sure exactly what the timing of it all is. That's something that we still need to touch base on, but I do know that is my position at the event, and I'm working hard to promote it. But I'm like more than sure it's during intermission. But I think I'm doing stuff. I think I'm doing some interviews in the beginning as well. So before the festival has started.
Before the event itself, yeah, nice.
Like for the first half, I am aware that I'm going to be interviewing people as the festival is happening as well, like the guests that we have invited, and then intermission and stuff like nominees. Like in terms of when I'm interviewing those nominees, I'm not too sure about that, but I'm sure we'll get it figured out as we get closer to the event.
So how exactly did you get the position?
Well, so I reached out to Miss Fraschetti.
Yeah.
Last year.
That's one of the other organizers.
Yeah. So I reached out to her last year. And I told her that, well, of course, like as I mentioned, one of my mandates is to promote opportunity in extracurriculars, that I wanted to get involved with this event and see what I could do to incorporate student voice, incorporate, more student interest. And she was very excited. And so we touched base this year, and that was the position that she was like, if you're willing to take it, it's open. And I ended up taking it.
Yeah. Honestly, anyone who's listening right now, the Peel Student Film Festival, it's truly a great display of the talent around our region.
Oh, yeah.
And I was blown away the first year because I've done film festivals at, my schools that I've been to. Like I did one in middle school. Like I've emceed that. I helped out with AV and whatnot. and I had no idea that there were just such amazing filmmakers as students, especially.
Yeah.
I think Peel Student Film Festival is definitely one of the better opportunities out here. So you're
And-
also on the PSPC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So both student trustees hold a position on it. But just before we move forward, I just wanted to add in, like the work that the organizers do for Peel Festival is
Yeah.
absolutely astonishing. I mean, to set up
Amazing.
the venue, set up all those films, and set up just everything in that type of in that big an event is absolutely amazing. And getting those videos onto what's that? Is it Garden Square in Brampton?
Garden Square,
Yeah.
exactly.
So getting those videos up there as well. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of work that goes into
They
it.
actually broadcast the
Yeah.
entire show.
Oh, yeah.
On the big screen in Garden Square.
And you were so you've mentioned you were the MC last
Yeah.
year, right? So how did you get to that position?
So it's funny because the whole story was, I heard on the announcements one day that something about the Rose Theater is all I heard, and I was like, well, the Rose Theater is a pretty cool place, so I'm gonna go down there to that meeting. So I went down there, and they're like, we're looking for MCs, and I was like, well, this is my thing because I've done this before. I'm like a huge fanatic of speeches and public speaking and whatnot. That's kind of why I have a podcast. So right away we just got the script, and she was like, okay, you have 10 minutes to find a partner and just start doing it. And I was lost. I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, why I'm doing this. So I picked up the script and I was like, well, let's try it out. And I just got someone who was like in the room. I didn't even know the person. Later on, we became great friends. And we just kind of went through it, left, and then pretty much within days, Miss Fernandez, one of the organizers, called us back and was like, hey, you guys are going to be the formal MCs.
Look at that, eh?
So yeah, it's an amazing story. And then so this year, I wasn't really too sure if there was a whole audition process again, but she came up to me and she was like, do you want to write the script this year?
So you're MCing this year again,
I'm
right?
MCing this year, and I'm also writing the script. So definitely come out to that if you want to see me speak. It's a lot of fun. Honestly, the whole viewing part of it, like every film is astonishingly amazing. And it's like right up there with some of the best, indie filmmakers in the industry itself. So it's a lot of fun doing all that.
But yeah, so you were saying, go ahead.
Yeah, well, PSPC. Okay, so the PSPC, the Peel Student President's Council, it's run by students, for students. This year they hosted Peel Talks. They also hosted Open Mic. So definitely shout out to both those events. How did you like Peel Talks?
Peel Talks was great.
Yeah.
There was a little Jason Rye on PSPC had actually asked me to do a little comedy skit, which went nowhere as planned, but but it was kind of on the spot. But they do some great work. Peel Talks was great. I got to see a lot of different students from all over Peel express their talents and their passions. We had some parents come out as well, and Carla Pereira, I believe, from the board. I hope I got her last name right. She's the head of communications at the board. She actually set up the live feed on Facebook so that students could watch from home as well. So I thought that was also
I missed that.
amazing.
So I originally got introduced to the PSPC, I think around November or December's general meeting, because Miriam Vargas, she's also on the exec team.
Oh yeah.
I met her last year at DECA Provincials because she went from our chapter, and then after becoming an exec on DECA at our school, then we kind of gelled more, and then she was like, hey, you should come to one of these. And up until then, I was like, this is probably going to be horrible. There's going to be a bunch of people that are just hella antisocial, which is funny because that's the exact opposite of what the people who are there are. It's just a bunch of extremely extroverted people
They have
in
a lot
one
of
room.
energy.
Yeah, they have a lot of energy.
Yep.
I remember doing open mic. I was super stressed out about it because I kind of signed up like really fast because I was like, I'm gonna rap right now.
Yeah, Carolyn and I weren't there.
Yeah,
because we were at our conference. I believe. What month was open mic?
February,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were in Ottawa.
Yeah.
We were in Ottawa at the time for our conference, so we missed it. But it was definitely something different and something amazing.
So I signed up, and then I have songs in the past that I've written, but I wasn't exactly too sure on which one I should perform. And then I just started getting hella stressed out about it because I was like, what if people aren't really into this? So then I went, and then I think her name is the PSPC member who's from Humberview.
Ooh, Erica.
Erica. Yeah.
There
So
you go.
my exactly. Now, especially if she's listening, she's gonna text you right after. You forgot my name.
No. I'm just generally very bad with names.
Yeah. So Erica. So my kind of trademark is to always be at least 3 hours early to anywhere for some reason. So I was super early, and Erica was kind of there, and she was like, "You do realize that you could go up there, drop a pencil, and everybody will just like be amazed." And I was like, "It's so true," because the entire energy at all those PSBC meetings, all my friends kind of make fun of me for it because of the fact that I'm constantly just putting them up on a high pedestal because it is a lot of fun to meet all these people, to network, because a lot of leaders, I think me personally as well, it's hard for you to kind of break off from your school and talk to people from other schools because you kind of feel like there's a divide in between you two and then you guys can't speak because you don't see each other every day. Um, and when it comes to networking in general, how important is it to you?
Networking.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna steal a quote. I don't know if it was Shams. Shams is he's a former student trustee of the Toronto District School Board. So it was something that he said was your network shows your net worth. In the sense that the people you surround yourself with, the people you hang out with, and the people that are backing you and you're backing, ultimately go to show where you're headed.
Yeah, so you clearly done a lot of networking throughout.
Well, I would hope so. Yeah,
you would hope so. So what was your kind of motto when it came to just speaking with people and whatnot?
Well, really, it's just just start up a conversation, right? A lot of students that I haven't met personally even have reached out to me and we've had conversations. Like, it's very important to me to be able to help students like running initiatives. Like, you invited me to this podcast, right? Like, students running initiatives and doing something different, like, I will always support and I will always find time for. And so really it's just a general conversation. Like, if you hadn't messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm Imaad and I'm doing this podcast and I need you to like show up or I'm not supporting you," right? Right? No, you didn't say that. But
you exposed my text.
But if it wasn't for your message, and if it wasn't for us connecting, then we wouldn't have that network right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the main thing with that was, I remember I was talking to some people about how I'm going to kind of get more and more people on this podcast. And legit, I was pretty limited to people who went to my school at first because I was like, I don't really know who else I should ask. And I actually wanted to talk to you for like the longest time. And I was like, I don't really know how I just go up to him. Hey, what's up? I'm Imaad.
Well, you know what? Honestly, like that I would encourage everybody to just do
I would definitely.
Like, just
if you
do
ever,
that.
To anyone who wants to talk to anybody, just go. Because it's so worth it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Darsh Kitani on PSBC as well. He's the vice chairperson, if I'm not mistaken. I went up to him after open mic because I wanted him to come on the podcast. So definitely look out for that. I think it should be coming out in the coming weeks. And I just talked to him. I was like, "Hey, do you want to be on a podcast?" And it just worked. Because I think all of grade 9, I was into leadership and whatnot, but I didn't really understand how important networking was.
Yeah.
And finding other people who think like you.
And you'll find a lot of the times like some people that might seem intimidating or might seem scary are actually just genuine, down to earth, and very nice. Like Darsh is very, very down to earth individual. I don't know if you've seen him on YouTube.
He's super
right? Like he's a very nice guy.
Yeah.
He's a very knowledgeable individual. He's
very
done
energetic.
a lot of He's done a lot of work with the PSPC. He's done a lot of work with student engagement as well. So like just look at like looking at that conversation, like a lot of people might see Darsh, because he's the vice chair of PSPC, as someone who's just kind of high up there, and he might not be interested in stuff like this, but that's not true.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when it comes to student engagement, when it comes to people that represent student voice, like Darsh or Omar or Carolyn and everybody else on the PSPC, that they actually do care.
Yeah, and it's amazing that that the PSPC exists, because I think it's a great chance for you, again, like I just say it all the time, it's a great chance for you to meet people if you want to do something.
Yeah. Like their monthly general meetings are actually like very important to student engagement in Peel. I would say so. I've had the opportunity of attending them and be a part of them and be and experience the different concepts and structures of each general meeting. And it's something that a lot of kids that I've spoken to, and this is like, I'm saying this honestly, like, okay, so I've spoken to a lot of kids from those general meetings, and a lot of those kids had told me, well, we were antisocial before we showed up here.
Yeah.
Right. Or we didn't really get along with anybody at school until we like kind of showed up here, made some friends. Right. Like it's really good on student engagement. As student trustees, like we deal with a lot of political stuff. We deal with the board. We deal with policy. We deal with changes. Right. We deal with my apologies. We deal with the advocacy of student voice and student input. The PSPC is something that focuses on student engagement, right? Which is also very important because sometimes the politics gets boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for anybody who still does not really think that PSPC general meetings are going to be fun, honestly, you go there, you're going to play fun games in which you get to meet people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then even like Peel Talks or open mics, so you get to see artists or whatever, or just people who like to do things.
Yeah.
Do things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like at the same time, everyone has a different interest, right? Like
Exactly.
Generally, like when I show up to general meetings, I more than likely have had at least two meetings with other people before I show up. So I'm like tired by the time I show up, and then the energy is just astounding, and then it's like, wow, like I can't deal with this, right? But I mean, to people that want to socialize, to people that want to network and are open to that kind of interest, it's definitely for them. But like at the same time, yeah, there are some people that may not be interested in that, are looking towards something different, and it's all fair, right? It's all up to your demographic, but definitely give it a shot because there's no harm in that.
Yeah. Before we wrap it up, there are some kind of things that I want you to give as advice.
Sure.
So I want you to give some advice, last minute advice for student like trustee candidates for Peel North, Peel South as well, anywhere around Ontario, who are going to be campaigning in about 9 days. What is your main piece of advice?
Okay, so I'm gonna do this to the best of my ability. I don't think I've achieved such a great level of political achievement or anything like that to the point that I'm giving other people advice.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I believe I'm a developing leader. I'm definitely interested, but this is just advice as one-to-one, right? Like someone who's been in that position to someone else. Through the entire process, through giving in the papers, to getting a video together, and to campaigning, never at any point be discouraged by anything. There's nothing to be afraid of, and there's nothing to lose. I mean, even to the individuals that, of course, I was the one who had won the election, but there were individuals that brought out their talents and showed that they were leaders as well, right? Voting is one thing. That's the thing about politics, and that's something we have to understand is whoever got voted in just got voted in, right? Like that may have to do with their video, that may have to do with how they did their outreach. That there's a lot of different factors. But I can tell you, like, for example, Gabir from Castlebrook. He's the president of Castlebrook right now, right? We've still connected, and we've done other work as well. This leads to so many different things. And you just need to believe that you have what it takes. I mean, the fact that you've even been here, and that's what I said to other candidates last year, is the fact that you're all here means something. The results is just the aftermath of it. The fact that we're here is different. I think there's 14 candidates this year. That's 14 candidates out of how many schools? We have 19 schools in the north. How many? I think it's like 25,000 students. I think that's just an estimate. I would say 25,000 in the north, maybe less than that. 25,000 students. There's 14. These are 14 students that are advocating for student voice. 14 students that are putting their next year on the line, saying we'll show up to these meetings. We'll show up and we'll represent students. Like, that's so far on its own that I think along the way of chasing success and chasing greatness and chasing achievement, we lose focus and forget. Look at what you've already accomplished. Look at the good around you. And I actually experienced that a lot of candidates were getting discouraged or upset. And I think that it's important to remain positive when you're in something like this. There should be no doubt in your mind. Like one of the people that I admire the most, when it comes to doing anything in life is I admire very much Conor McGregor. And if you look into his backstory, right, a lot of people like there's two people that I admire with basically all my heart. First would be Conor McGregor and also Sean Carter, Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Right? If you look into the backstory of these two individuals, they've come from nothing.
For sure. Yeah.
And look at where they are now. They're not special. They're not extra talented. They're just hardworking individuals. And one thing that Conor says the most is he doesn't have a doubt in his mind that he will lose or something like that. When he goes in, and it's something that he says as well is the real battle is not in the octagon, it's before it. It's a lot of the times it's just you and your thoughts just putting yourself down and saying, I can't do this. Like you took the risk of starting this podcast, right? Now you don't know where this would go. This could be a huge, huge success, and that's what I hope it will be. But sometimes things don't go as you'd want. But that shouldn't discourage you from moving forward. That shouldn't discourage you from learning from that and going forward. So during the campaign period, during making that video, right, which they've already submitted and all of that, it's important to take your beliefs and just connect with students, and whatever happens, happens. Don't feel discouraged. We're all young. We're all young. We have our entire life ahead of us. That's one thing that I would never want young leaders, because we need them so desperately in politics, as be discouraged at a young age. We need young leaders to continue growth. We need young leaders to continue their ambition, because young leaders are the future of politics. And that's something you need to realize. Like there was like a lot of the times I was told, like when I wanted to do leadership of politics, right? Before I was student trustee, before performing arts happened, before all of that, I was always told there's no future in politics. And then I always used to just say, well, there's no future in politics because we're setting up to become the future of politics. We are the future of politics. So you can't look at current political structure or current leaders and say, well, we can't be that. We could go above and beyond that. And Sean and well, people know him as Jay-Z, right? So Jay-Z says a lot, right? When he started rapping, right? And I just want to quickly share, because we were turning this into this, like just motivational right? Thing, yeah. So he was told a lot. Like, so if you listen to his I forgot which album this was on Magna Carta, his song Crown, right? He's like he said, my uncle said I would never sell 1 million records. I sold 1 million records about 1 million times. Right? It's always people will discourage you. People will want to put you down because they're not doing what you're doing. But one thing he says is like, you can't take that to heart, because maybe you can't do it, but I can. And that's just self-belief. That's not cockiness. That's not overconfidence. That's just belief. Mm-hmm. The moment you start believing you can't do something, you've already lost. The battle starts in your mind. If you believe that you can do something and you hold that belief, what is stopping you? Honestly, think about it. What is stopping you?
Yeah, it's true.
Jay-Z went from Marcy Projects, right? He used to sell drugs. And he just said to himself, this isn't the life that I want. This is not the life that's gonna, like he saw his friends dying, getting shot, murdered. He's like, this isn't the life that's gonna take me forward. Right? And I think a lot of kids, even in high school now, like this has gone far away from the student trustee elections.
Yeah, of course.
But even people in high school now, like we see gang affiliations, right? We see kids on drugs at such a young age. We see kids not focused on academics, kids not focused on extracurriculars. But they have to understand that life is limited. That life is temporary. That life is fake. That doesn't take you anywhere. Jay-Z grew out of Marcy Projects. He stopped selling drugs. He sold his CDs, right? Because we don't do CDs anymore, but back then, obviously, right? He sold his CDs on the streets, and he went when he started off. This is one of the most mesmerizing things about this individual. When he started off rapping, right? We look at his net worth, right? I think he's the second richest rapper, or second, whatever, top 5 richest rapper in the world today, and I would say he's one of the absolute most successful.
Yeah.
This guy wasn't even signed by a record label because all the record labels said that he wasn't worth it. Jay-Z was never, think about that. Jay-Z has never been signed by a record label because everyone said that he wasn't good enough. And so he even said in an interview that at that moment in his life, he had two options. He could either give up or he could just do it on his own. So he made Rockefeller Records. And he grew out his own. You look at all the artists that are signed to Rockefeller now. Kanye's on that. He recently signed I don't know if anyone's listened to Sire, right? By Jaden Smith. He signed Jaden Smith before Sire was released. He basically took himself as an artist, built himself, then he built others. My bad. Yeah. Hit the mic a little there. And then he built others. Right?
Yeah.
And that's and one of the most I guess one of the things I appreciate is the projects that he grew out of, he invested millions of dollars into.
Yeah. Jay-Z actually helped out many other smaller record labels get that level of distribution that he had. Yeah. I think Jay-Z is definitely probably one of the largest influencers ever since I started rapping. That's a shameless. And
if I could just add on, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
It is okay, cool. Because I don't know how we're doing on time, but now that I got started, right? So we look at Conor McGregor. He wasn't the best in academics. He was a plumber at the age of 19 out of high school, and he was always interested in fighting though. He was also always interested in martial arts. Right, not fighting on the streets and gang affiliations. He was interested in martial arts, right? He basically became a plumber because in Ireland they have the law of if you're not going to post secondary, you have to take up a trade job or something like that. So he went into plumbing, and he absolutely dreaded his life, right? And I think that's an important note to people that dread what they do is don't do things you don't enjoy, do things you're passionate about. This is actually such an important story to people that are going into arts, like, because I know in my community sometimes, we're worried about, you're going into singing or you're going into film or stuff like that. You're not going to make money. That should be the last of your worries. That should be the absolute last of your worries.
Money will come.
Because I love sharing this guy's story. He got into a very, very big altercation with his father, and he basically, before he left, he kind of said, forget this, because his father wasn't supporting his dream, right? Because he wanted to leave plumbing and he wanted to go to train, and his father was like, no, you're stupid for that, and so he was just like, you know what? And he left and he said, I will be a millionaire at 25, right? This guy spent years training, literally every minute of the day. He woke up, started training, came back at night, and his girlfriend used to work to run the house, and he was on welfare, and he broke down a couple times and basically just told her, leave me. Like, I'm pathetic. Like, I'm not going anywhere. Right? Like, it's been years and, what have we accomplished? But this is where it comes to, actually realize what you've accomplished. He accomplished without, he didn't even realize he accomplished the title of being the best fighter in Ireland. And he just never appreciated that. He never truly saw what he did. But because his dream was UFC, he wasn't focused on, you have to build it. It's patience. You have to build to be there. And so what basically happened was when Dana White, the president of the UFC, came to Ireland, nobody stopped talking about Conor McGregor. Everybody said, this is the fight you need to see. Dana White signed him to a 3-fight contract without even seeing the guy fight. And the day before he won his fight and made $60,000, he collected a welfare check for, I believe it was 188 euros. And he fought and he won his fights. He lost a couple fights. But recently, now you look at it, right? And one of the most iconic parts is he said he would be a millionaire at 25. He became a millionaire at 26.
Yeah.
And he's 28 now, I believe. Coming into 29. I think his birthday's in June or something like that. He's a multi-millionaire. He has more than $100 million net worth. And this is just a kid who said, I want to fight. That's what I'm good at. That's what I want to do. His father didn't believe him. Probably his friends didn't believe him. The only two people that in his life that believed in him was his girlfriend and himself. And he has over $100 million now. He's accomplished. He's the first UFC fighter to hold 2 belts in 2 different weight classes at one time. He made history. He has shares in the UFC now. He is the highest paid UFC fighter. Yeah. And none of what we see would have happened if he made the decision to continue being a plumber. Jay-Z would not be here impacting music, impacting artists, if he chose to continue selling drugs. Choice is something that everyone has, but no one values. If you want to change your life condition, your lifestyle, make the choice.
That wraps up. That basically wraps up episode 8. Khush,
Yeah,
thank you.
that went away from student
fine.
trustee elections.
It's
But
all
sorry,
good.
just quickly, student trustees that are running this year, I wish you all the luck. I wish you all of the motivation that you may need.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see the incoming trustees. I'm so excited to see what they accomplish in their year. And if you need any help, reach out to me for sure. I'm always willing. I'm always free to hear you guys out. But best of luck. Show them what you got.
Yeah. So that's gonna wrap up episode 8. Khush, thank you so much for coming. Where can they find you?
You mean like social media?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't even wait, what's my I think my Instagram username and my Twitter
Khushpal
username
Pawar.
is just my name, Khushpal Pawar.
Yeah.
It's KHUSHPAL. Yeah, and then I think on Facebook. Does anyone use Facebook anymore? I mean, I use Facebook, but I mean, if you're on Facebook, it's the opposite. It's Pawar, Khushpal, or you just search Khushpal Pawar. My page will come up. But yeah, that's where I'm at on social media.
You can find me on Instagram at imaad.jm, or if you want to find me on Twitter, imaadjm is the place to go. Once again, be sure to follow us on all of our social medias. We're Artist Block POD on everything. Be sure to subscribe to us on SoundCloud so you can get these episodes as soon as they come out. That finishes up episode 8 for the third time. See you guys next week.